Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a very special video for you. We're going to be grading some of the best Premier League Wonderkids. How we're going to do this is, we've got 10 of the best under 21 players, and we're going to grade them on 3 criteria. That's hype, ability, and potential. So this is going to be the best way to work out who the best Wonderkid in the Premier League is. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit the like, and check out all my other videos. Let's waste no time and get straight into the first player. And as you can see, the first player we're grading is Mayu, one of the most exciting youth prospects in all of football right now. And you can clearly see why. He's been absolutely unbelievable for Manchester United, with an average rating of 6.99 in one of the biggest pressure environments in the league, being a Manchester United player. He's managed to be so composed, so calm, looks like one of the most exciting players we've seen in many years. Remember, he's only just turned 19 as well. All of his games have basically been played as an 18-year-old in his first proper season in the Premier League. He looks absolutely unbelievable. And for that reason, as you can see here, we've got hype, ability, potential. The hype, it's got to be A+. Everyone's talking about Mayu. He made the England squad. People want him starting for England alongside Rice and Bellingham, 2 of the best midfielders in the world. He's clearly got that hype about him. Ability, A-. It's quite clear he's clearly got the ability if he's starting games for England, starting 19 in a row for United. He's an absolute joke. And potential, I think this guy, the sky is the limit. I don't think there is a potential with him. He can go as high as he physically can. An A+. Obviously, we've started off with a very, very good player. Not everyone's getting A's all around the board. There's only a few of them. But Mayu has to be one. He's been so special for Manchester United. And hopefully he'll be very special for England too. But now straight into the next player, we have Miley. Now this is an interesting one because he's kind of been overshadowed a little bit from Mayu, because there's not often you get 2 17, 18-year-olds midfielders break through at the same time. Both English, both for top half of the table teams. So Mayu has kind of taken a bit of his glory. But he has averaged a 6.81 rating in the league. 1 goal, 3 assists as well, which is not bad at all, especially in a struggling Newcastle side. Obviously, he's played some massive Champions League fixtures as well. Looks like an unbelievable talent, just not quite yet at the level where we're prepared to see it week in, week out for an entire season at the highest level, which I think maybe some of the other players are. But I think he's definitely going to be getting there. And for that reason, the hype, we've got a C+. I don't think he's spoken about too much, and obviously that is because, like I said, I think Mayu has taken a lot of the headlines recently and stuff like that. But a 17, 18-year-old playing for Newcastle in the Champions League in midfield is absolutely crazy. And remember their group they had as well, PSG. Like the players he's played against, he deserves higher hype. But I think Mayu has kind of lowered it a bit. Ability, we've gone for B. I don't want to give him too high or too low because it's his first season and he hasn't quite had the impact that Mayu has. So it's quite a good comparison, them two. But I think a B ability for a 17-year-old is insane. He shouldn't be having this good of a season as he is at his age in a struggling team. He's carried them at points. Looks very, very good. And potential, we've gone for A-. I don't really think there is a limit to him, but we can't have potential at A+ for every single player. I think an A-, that's definitely England team worthy in the future. He could definitely be an absolute superstar. It depends whether he's going to stay at Newcastle. It'll be interesting to see. But now moving on to the next player, we have branway. Now this man has some hype around him, and I can see why. 7.05 average rating in the league with 3 goals, only 1 of them coming from a header as well. So he's clearly technically gifted as well. And 10 clean sheets. For a team that's been in a relegation fight up until probably the most recent game, he's been an absolute superstar for them. Been one of the best young defenders in the entire league. One of the best English defenders in the league this season. I really like what I'm seeing from branway week in, week out. He's putting in solid performances. Looks very comfy. There's only been a few hiccups here and there. But overall, he's been extremely good. And now back to this beautiful slide. We've got hype, B. I don't reckon he gets chatted about enough as he probably should. I think he's way better than his hype says. People don't talk to him too much because they like to go to Gahey and other young English centre-backs, Colwill maybe. But I think branway is the real deal. Ability, we've also gone for a B. I think he could massively improve, and that's a B in a struggling Everton side as well, remember. A side where they've been near the bottom of the table a lot. Obviously, I know that's because of point deductions, but he has been a rock in the heart of that defence Really technically gifted as well. I think a B is very, very well deserved. And lastly, potential. We've gone B+, but this could have easily been an A-, maybe even an A. I think it's just hard to tell because he's not at the level of club yet where he is going to reach the A+. He's going to need a move, so I can't really put him too high because it depends where he moves and whether it works out. He could follow a similar trajectory to John Stones. We don't really know, or he could move and it not quite work out and it really damage his career. It's really going to be interesting to see. But I think that's B+. Branway, that's a very solid season for him. It'll be interesting to see if he goes anywhere in the window. But I think that's fair enough. Let's move on to the next one. And you knew it was coming. Cole Palmer, the absolute baller. He's got a 7.56 average rating with 20 goals and 9 assists in the Premier League. He's currently the joint top goal scorer of the Premier League. And I mean, he's outlived every expectation anyone had of him. He was a Man City youth prospect, showed some really good glimpses, but wasn't quite getting the minutes he wanted. Moves for about 40 million to Chelsea. People are a bit unsure, thinking they've overpaid. That looks like an absolute bargain now you look back at it. 40 million for a player that's getting you almost 30 goal involvements before the end of the season is insane value. He's been so good. Literally had Chelsea in his backpack the entire season and carried them to potentially even still a European spot. All thanks to this man. Like, he's an unbelievable player. I know a lot have been pens, but it doesn't matter. He's been so good for them. And for that reason, there's not much more to say than hype, A+. Everyone loves Cole Palmer at the minute. They know how much of a baller he is. Ability, A+. He scored 20 goals, in the Premier League. You don't get that if you're dead. He's got A+ ability for sure. And potential. Well, if you're already an A+, how can you get any worse? His potential is also an A+. If he keeps up this standard, he's going to be an absolute baller for England, for club. Anyone he plays for is going to be so, so good. Now, moving on to the next one. We have an interesting one, this. This is Garnacho. So far in the season, he's clocked a 6.97 average rating with 7 goals, 4 assists. In a struggling Manchester United side, he has been a bit of a bright spark in attack. Antony and Rashford have once again struggled this season, and he has been the one bright spark on the wing. But he's not quite lived up to, Cole Palmer level numbers and stuff like that. But he has shown glimpses and obviously scored one of the best goals ever in the Premier League this season as well. He is an interesting one. Because hype, we've gone A-. There's a lot of hype around him. He plays like a superstar. He's very direct, loves to run at a defender. And that's why he's exciting to watch. He likes the idea of taking on a defender. He's not scared to try stuff. And for a 19-year-old, that's one of the most important traits to be having. Ability, though, we've gone for a B. He still does a lot of things which just shows a bit of lack of footballing IQ. Like, a lot of the time we'll try and take on a player in the wrong position and stuff like that. But it makes sense. He's a 19-year-old. He's still learning the professional game. But I think he will iron all those out. And I've got his potential as an A-. This man, in fairness, could go all the way to an A+. But then again, compared to the other players, I think there's a higher chance of him flopping and having a bit of a poor career. So I think an A- for him is fair enough. I expect him to do really well in his career. But it's really hard to tell this early doors, especially when he's showing glimpses of it, but not consistency. And that's the main thing we're looking for here. Next player, his teammate, Rasmus Haaland. Now, this is an interesting one. Because when he joined, it took him a long time to get his first Premier League goal. Obviously, he showed it in the Champions League. I think it was 5 in the group stages. Was joint top goal scorer, I think, going into round of 16. Even though they weren't in it anymore. So he showed that he had the ability. It just took a while to show it in the Premier League. But he did receive no help at all. He was not receiving the ball in games. He was not receiving any chances for a long, long time. And then when he started getting a few chances, that's when he started putting a few away. So he's averaged a 6.87 rating with 8 goals, 2 assists. It's not awful stats at all, and I expect to see a big improvement from next season onwards. And his general play is actually really impressive. He's a very good hold-up player, extremely quick. His speed is definitely something that's underrated about him. Very strong, good on the ball, like feet-wise. He can dribble around players to a high enough level. Good link-up player. He's a half-decent finisher as well. And for that reason, hype, we've got B. I feel like when he was on that goal-scoring form, the hype was probably an A. But since then, he's gone a bit on a drought again. He's obviously scored recently. But I think a B is around fair enough for Rasmus Haaland. Ability, though, B+. I think this man has that something special that this new generation of striker, the Haalands, the 6'4" strikers that are wrapping in behind, but also strong. They just can do everything. I think he has that. And I think he will turn out special because of that reason. And potential A. For that reason again, he's about a 6'4" striker that's rapid in behind, good on the ball, good finishing. With a few seasons under his belt, we could see him scoring 20 goals easily. So I think a B, B plus A is more than fair enough for Rasmus Haaland. I expect big things from him in the future. Next player, a very interesting one, Jeremy Doku. Now he, in glimpses, has been one of the best players in the league. But the issue is, a lot of it has been in glimpses. He's dropped a 7.49 average rating, which is so close to Cole Palmer. So when I said no one's near Cole Palmer, I was clearly forgetting about Jeremy Doku. He's been so good in games, but then also in games has gone missing way too easily. So it's a bit of a tough one. 3 goals, 7 assists. 7 assists, I think 4 of them came in one game. But he still got the assist. There's something to take away from him. But it does highlight the fact that he does show up in some games. In others, he does quieten away a bit. But he's still young, so that's not that peculiar to not show up in every single game. But for that reason, hype, B+. He's a Man City youngster who's exciting to watch on the ball. He's got a lot of hype around him. Ability, also B+. If you watch that highlights against Luton, their most recent fixture against Luton, go and watch their highlights and tell me this man does not have B+ ability. He's an absolute joke on the ball on his day, and I think his day is going to be coming very often, so I've gave him an A- potential. I expect to see him doing this for City for a good few years to come still, before maybe moving elsewhere. I think we only have 2 players left, and this one is Harvey Elliott. A 7.26 average rating with 2 goals, 3 assists. Adapted a bit more of a different role this season, played a bit more in midfield, but still playing out wide as well. He's an interesting player. One of the biggest compliments I think you can give to Harvey Elliott is he plays beyond his years. I think you can say the same about Mayu, especially the same about Cole Palmer. Them 3, especially out of these 3, play like they're late 20s. The same as Bellingham. They play way older than they actually are. So you almost forget that they're still only 21, 18, 20, whatever age they are. You almost forget that. So you have way more expectations for Harvey Elliott than we maybe should as a 21-year-old. 2 goals, 3 assists from a bit of an adaptation position is not bad at all. And 7.26 average rating is actually really, really impressive, considering the Liverpool team is in a weird phase at the minute as well. And for that reason, hype, we're going A-. He has a lot of hype around him, especially being a Liverpool player, English. People want to see him in the England squad. I think he will eventually get there, but there's a lot of competition in the position that he would kind of be taken up for England. Ability, B. So I think that might be a bit harsh, but I don't think he's had the best of seasons in comparison to what he can deliver. I think we can see Harvey Elliott perform way better than he is at the minute, and that's credit to him. But also, I can't give him higher than a B because I'm watching him and I'm expecting slightly more, and I know he can give slightly more. And for that reason, A- potential. I think he is not giving us 100% at the minute. Effort-wise, he is, but I think the performances are going to click. And next season could be an absolute breakout season. With a new manager coming in, maybe they find a role that suits him perfectly, and he could have an unbelievable season. Now, oh no, we've got 2 more players now. Alex Scott. I bet a lot of you forgot that he was going to be on this list. He's got a 6.99 average rating, 1 goal, 1 assist. But he's been very good for Bournemouth. He looks very, very good on the ball. Obviously coming from Bristol City in the Championship. A lot of hype around him if you play Football Manager, because he's an absolute star on there. But I like watching him play. He's got something exciting about him. He likes link-up play a lot. I like watching him play a lot. And Bournemouth in general, to kind of sum up Alex Scott. Very young team, very good on the ball. Like, everyone's very technically gifted. And I like Bournemouth for that reason. So, for Alex Scott, we're giving him a C+ in hype. I don't think he gets spoken about too much. But because of the Football Manager and him being a bit of a wonder kid, people do chat about him enough. Ability, B-. I do like watching him play a lot, but he is in a Bournemouth side and he's not quite getting the goals and assists to maybe take him up to the B+, maybe on an A- ability. And potential, I think he could easily get to a B+. I could see him getting a move to maybe like a top 8 team. Whether that could even be Bournemouth, you honestly never know. But I can see him get to move maybe to a team like Tottenham. Not Tottenham, but that kind of level. And starting to really show what he's about in a higher level team. Better players around him. I like the prospect of Alex Scott's future. And the last player, Liverpool's own Connor Bradley. Now this is an interesting one because he's only played 10 games. But in those 10 games, he's managed to bag 1 goal and 3 assists. This is Premier League. He's got 7.12 average rating. And he is very exciting to watch. Everyone's worried when Arnold gets injured. Conor Bradley steps up and puts in unbelievable performances in the biggest of games. He looks extremely exciting, and for that reason, there's not much more to say. Hype, B. I think like Harvey Elliott gets more mainstream hype. Conor Bradley's hype is more built within the Liverpool fan base. Ability, okay, hear me out. C+ may seem crazy, but this is purely because he's only played 10 Premier League games. If he's only played 10 games, I can't give him too high of an ability, but that's why I've got him as an A- potential. He's got an A potential because he could be an unbelievable fullback, but I just need to purely see it a bit more. What he's done in those 10 games is not C+. He's been probably an A- in those 10 games, but the fact that it's only 10 games, I can't give him that. We need to see it for a bit longer, so it's still a bit unsure. Anyone can have a good 10 games. I don't think he is anyone. I think he's a very special player. But with a bit more games, next season if he gets a few more minutes as well, or even move somewhere to get some minutes if Arnold's going to obviously be staying, we could easily be seeing him as a B+ ability, for sure. And that is it. Those are the top 10 Wonderkids in my opinion. I know I missed a few players out like Doku. We can always do a part 2. Don't you worry about that, Tottenham fans. But, like I said, that is it. If you do like this video, you might like me grading every Premier League team as well. So watch that video. The link is right here. But until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.